Hello. In this programme we'll show some of the technical changes to the Saab 900 and 9000 ranges for 1987. First, let's look at some of the cars. The 900 carburettor version is not much changed externally, though as we shall see shortly, it is fitted with the new carburettor. Inside the car, all except the 4-speed version have a centre console and rear seat headrests. The 900i and turbo models have been restyled front and rear. The headlamps are more angled, and the changes to the bumpers reduce the length of the car. The 8-valve turbo is available with a sports package. This includes anti-roll bars, stiffer shock absorbers, 195/60 tyres on 5.5-inch Super Inca wheels. It has ventilated front discs and also electric mirrors and windows. The 16S has been restyled front and rear, this styling blending into the side skirts. Suspension on this model is now lowered by 10mm at the front, a little less at the rear. This, of course, is the fabulous new convertible. Mechanically similar to the 16S, it's an entirely new car. The screen is more angled than on other models. The hood is operated by hydraulic rams driven by an electric motor. Here we have the 9000i. Both the 9000i and the 9000 Turbo 16 are now available with automatic transmission. Here at the end we have the new 9000 SE. It's fitted as standard with automatic transmission, anti-lock braking system, DCC trip computer, ACC automatic climate control, leather upholstery and wooden dashboard and door cappings. It also has a steel sunroof. Now we will go inside for Tony and Malcolm to give some more details. Firstly, Tony will cover the changes on the 900.
Thank you, Peter. Now let's take a more detailed look at these modifications. We'll deal with the 900 first. A Peerberg carburettor, modifications in the brake system, a plastic temperature control valve, and adjustable heating of the front seats as some of the new technical features on the 1987 models. A Peerberg carburettor is very similar to the Stromberg carburettor, and certain components are identical on both of them. The damper piston, spring, diaphragm, and the piston and needle. The CO content can be adjusted from underneath with an 8mm socket. The main jet in the float chamber is controlled by 6 bimetallic springs that compensate for variations in temperature. As the temperature rises, the springs raise the jet, and as it drops, they lower it. When measuring the float level, tilt the carburetor to around 10 degrees to put a slight load on the needle valve. Adjust the fast idle speed to 1350 RPM, making sure the mark on the cam is facing the centre of the adjusting screw. The choke system is equipped with a load-sensing lean mixture valve, which is controlled by the vacuum in the air intake manifold. As on the Strongberg carburetor, we have a deceleration valve on the throttle valve. Float chamber venting is controlled by a solenoid valve. This gives us external venting when the ignition is off, and internal venting when the ignition is on. The advantage of this arrangement is that it needs no adjustment. The new heater temperature control valve is made of plastic. The spools inside it are made of stainless steel. This valve has somewhat better control characteristics than the earlier metal valve. This new control valve supersedes the old one as a replacement part. A new master cylinder has been introduced. It's made of steel instead of cast iron. It weighs less, and together with the new brake servo and brake fluid reservoir, takes up even less space. We also have new combinations of brake linings to improve the braking effort balance and to reduce the risk of brake pulsation. The front brake pads have different friction materials on the outer and inner sides. Velcro moraine on the outer side, Texstar on the inner sides. Dan block friction material is used for the rear pads. These brake pads can also be used on earlier models. The heating for the driver's seat can be adjusted by turning a control on the dashboard. The thermostat in the cushion has been replaced by a thermistor, which senses the temperature in the cushion. The thermistor transmits information on a suitable switching temperature to the electronic control and integrated relay. There are two types of heating pads. One for cars with fabric upholstery and another for cars with leather upholstery. The pad for leather upholstery stays on somewhat longer. The product modifications introduced during 1986 include a reinforced drive shaft, a spider with rollers that are 3 mm larger, and a new inner driver. The gear shift rod has been modified. The guide has been moved from the gear change rod into the transmission housing. The gear shift rod has also been equipped with a new improved vibration damper. The gear shift rod should now be secured and adjusted with third gear engaged. There are two securing points, one on the gear shift rod as previously and one on the selector shaft. A tool for securing the shaft to the cover is required. And now over to Malcolm for the technical news on the Saab 9000 Model 87.
Thank you, Tony. The Saab 9000 turbocharger will now be water-cooled. This lowers the temperature around the bearing by 100 degrees centigrade, which will reduce the risk of coking. When the engine is switched off, cooling of the turbocharger continues by natural circulation. All 16-valve turbo engines are equipped with a new fuel pressure regulator set at 2.8 bar in order to increase the fuel supply at full load and reduce the risk of engine damage. The vacuum hose arrangement on the intake manifold has been changed. To check the APC or turbo system, connect the pressure gauge here. The Model 87 9000i is equipped with a two-part cast iron exhaust manifold and a new front exhaust pipe. The new versions will supersede the previous versions as replacement parts. The instrument panel is equipped with an engine check warning lamp that provides information on faults in the system. If the lamp flashes 4 times, there is a fault in the wiring to or in the knock sensor. If it flashes 5 times, the load signal from the injection system is defective. And if it stays on continuously, the injection system is defective. All manual transmissions for Model 87 are equipped with a reverse gear brake. When the gear lever is moved from neutral towards reverse, the 5th gear synchromesh ring brakes the gears in the transmission. The 9000 is equipped with the same type of heated cushion as the 900, but on both front seats. The heat can be adjusted to one of 3 levels by turning a control on the dashboard. There are also 2 types of heating pads for the 9000, one for fabric upholstery and one for leather. We also have a new air sensor for the interior. It consists of a single unit which contains the sensor and the fan. The corrugated hose and the exhaust fan motor in the console have thus been eliminated. The ACC unit is equipped with an automatic lighting control. The light intensity of the display and the LEDs is controlled by a light sensor on the dashboard. The sensor is incorporated into the LED located between the heat and floor controls. When the brightness of the interior lighting exceeds 200 lux, the illumination of the display and LED is at maximum intensity. When the brightness is less than 50 lux, the intensity is controlled via a rheostat on the dashboard. The engine compartment lighting is operative when the parking lights or headlights are on. It is controlled by a mercury switch that turns the light on when the bonnet is opened. A few changes have been made in the brake system. The front brake discs are now 23.5 millimeters thick, which is 1 millimeter thicker than previously. And the brake calipers have been adapted for this new disc. We also have new brake pads in the front and rear. The front pads are made by Textar. and the rear pads by Danblock. Together, they reduce the sound level and improve the braking effort balance. They can also be used on earlier 9000 models. All cars are now fitted with dim dip lights. When the lighting switch is in the first position, all lights are off, even with the ignition on. With the switch in the second position, parking lights are on. But when the ignition is switched on, the headlamps also come on with approximately 10% power. This is the dim dip. Finally, in the third position, the headlamps work normally. This was a brief technical presentation of the 1987 models. I will now hand you back to Peter.
Thank you, Malcolm. This concludes our brief introduction to the model year. Other programmes will follow, showing in more detail the convertible, the anti-lock braking system, and the automatic transmission.